virtual machines. We have a resource pool here that's assigned for those marketing people that we created back on that last nugget, and I have one VM here powered off called VM6. Now if I right-click on any of these virtual machines and take a look at them, what I'm going to see are a couple of different options here, one of which is the clone option. Now, as you can imagine, what did I say? The whole clone process is I want to do a copy and paste of a virtual machine so that I can create another virtual machine. Very easy to do. So if I wanted to create a duplicate of VM6, I could accomplish that with the clone link here, and then it creates the clone wizard. What's more interesting, however, before we actually get to that point, is this whole template item down here. Now, with a template, I have a couple of different options. Okay, I can either clone an existing virtual machine to a template, or I can convert a virtual machine to a template. Let me convert this virtual machine to a template here. You notice the little icon here where it shows the little VM icon changing into a different icon? Watch what happens. So I'm converting this VM to a template, and wait a minute, it disappeared. Well, where did it go? This is a common oops that may happen if you're not careful, because when you actually create a template, it actually moves that virtual machines away from hosts and clusters and into the VMs and templates location here under inventory. So notice how the icon here looks a little different. This virtual machine now as a template is not something that I'm actually going to be able to power on. So creating a virtual machine template kind of removes the read-write permissions almost from it. You can't power on a template, because if you powered it on, well, it wouldn't be a template anymore. So the idea here is that, well, I could go about cloning my virtual machines if I wanted to. There's no problem here. But the reality of what I probably want to do is to create some sort of, I don't know, golden image or reference image, or essentially a crafted image, just like what you used to do in the days of Ghost for your desktops, that you will ultimately deploy virtual machines whose lives start from that template. If I click the link here, you'll see this brings up the deploy template wizard. Now let's say I wanted to create, I don't know, VM6-1, for example, and I want to put this in my data center here, and I want to actually deploy a virtual machine based on this template. Okay, I hit the next button here, and I put it in my cluster, and I get the validation succeeded item here, and I want to actually allow the marketing people to create their own virtual machines. It's kind of odd as it sounds to give marketing people access to virtual machines, but bear with me through this. So I want these marketing people to be able to make use of a virtual machine template to create the virtual machines that they might need to in order to do whatever it is marketing people do. And the validation here succeeded, so I hit next, and then I identify what the source is, so I then provision it, and I put it on my data store 1 here, which is great. Once I'm done with that, I hit next, and now I get to this interesting screen here called guest customization. So I have a template, right? And the template has been configured in such a way, it's probably in a work group, it's probably got the basic configurations that I would want to have all of my servers have. Those configurations are set up in such a way so I know that when users log in, they're going to get them appropriately. So in the Ghost world, or in the desktop world, we have this thing called sysprep, right? And then with sysprep, when I go and deploy a machine from a template or golden image, well, sysprep then, when the first time you bring it online, it actually asks you some questions that help you customize that computer after it gets deployed. Well, that's what this customization wizard here is. When I do guest customization, I can choose to, obviously, to not customize it, but I can also customize it using the customization wizard. This is interesting. If I hit next here, you'll notice it brings up the vSphere client Windows guest customization kind of secondary wizard here. Now take a look at some of these things. If you've played with sysprep before, you're probably familiar with some of the items in here. The registration information, name and organization, computer name, Windows license, admin password, time zone. If I start just popping in just bogus data in here to show you what these look like, you'll see, well, wait a minute, I can actually deploy, I don't know, I'll call this VM6-1, or I can give it a unique value, or enter a name in the deployment wizard. I can give it the license information if I want, or plug in the administrator password, even have it log on as administrator the first time to make the whole deployment process that much easier. I can set my time zone to